fashion industry. Now you want to take 2 minutes, want to talk quickly to each other, take a guess at what it could be, want to walk up to the stage, check what the numbers are, please feel free. Take a look at it. I'll give you the answer in about 2 minutes exactly, but I want you to think about this before we start our work today. Are you able to see it? It's here. Quick. Do you have your answers ready with you? Keep it for you, and I'll just reveal the answer to you all together. Ready? Here it is. So, 100 billion is the number which is the new garments that are produced annually around the world. That is 100 billion. What is 10%? The worldwide fashion industry for green gas emissions, 10%. 60%, UN Environment Program estimates people buy these many clothes and do not wear them. 20%, worldwide pollution from water waste. 2,700, I already mentioned to you the number. 57% is of all the clothing thrown away across the world is sent to the landfill. 25% global clothing is incinerated. Last but not the least, 80 to 800. Okay. Synthetic fibers take 80 to 800 times longer to decompose than natural fibers like cotton. These are statistics from very reliable sources of fabric waste, and I'll share that with you in a bit. So let's see about the why of Planet Tomorrow. Simon Sinek has made why very popular. Now, what is your why? What is your purpose? And the why of Planet Tomorrow is this. So, as I introduce myself, doctor, my PhD was in evaluating criteria for purchasing fruits and vegetables from UAE, packaged, open shelf, and it was then which I realized that food goes. We can actually, fruits and vegetables, everything can be composted. Now composting is way more popular than what it was earlier. And what they usually would do is just throw everything. We don't even actually clear our, separate our garbage. Everything goes together, goes to the landfill, gets spoiled with everything, and then, so there's a whole huge smell in the landfill is because of the food. Then second came the fact that I went to a tailor one day, and as I was just in the shop, he was just moving out from the shop, and he had 2 garbage bags in his hand, and I said, what is this? So he said, it's fabric. I said, what are you doing? He said, I want to throw it into the garbage. I said, why? I can't do anything. You want? And I actually took a step back. So then I realized that this fabric was going to get mixed with the food, and then everything becomes, you cannot do anything about it. So the kind of food that we are talking about, I cannot do anything about your food waste. But the fabric, we could do something. But again, I narrowed it down to the fact that we will take fabric scrap only from tailors, because otherwise I would be dumped with everybody's whatever waste will come to me, and I don't have place to store it. You don't have time to take care of your clutter. How can I take care of it? That is the reason why we take only from tailors, fashion houses, also which I want to stop doing now, because I believe fashion houses should take care of their own carbon footprints. They are making their profits. They have to find a way which brings into complete circularity in economy, and they are able to save that fabric. Then came the buddies. As now today here, Gul and Vega are here. We at one point before COVID, we had like 14, 15 groups of buddies. The way we used to work with buddies was that anyone who would be living in a particular area, if they message me and say we want to work on this, I would say get one more person, either from your family or a friend, somebody staying nearby in the same building, preferably, and they would join together. I would go there, give a demo, tell them everything how to do. And what we did always was make utility-based things like bags, sheets, and pillows. Please take this and just pass it on as I'm continuing with that position. About the pillows, this is filled with very small scrap. Okay. And June 15th to September 15th, the construction people, as you are all very well aware, since you are also many of your architects, they get a midday break. And we started making these pillows so that they could use this along with whatever they were using with the, usually they use a brick or a tiffin box or a hardboard thing for their head. This could be a support. And whatever we made from this, as Dr. Bhakti also mentioned, we realized over a period of time that we saved 12.5 tons of fabric scrap. Mika, would you like to just pass that also on to them so they can see quickly? Yeah, please open it, please see the... Yeah, please. No, there is more here also. I want to see the back. Then you can take from here, Archana. I want you to see it, I want you to feel it. And actually, this is our label. If you see, the label should be there on most of it. There's a heart, there's SSS, and it's like pieces have been joined together because that is what we do. And this heart is labor of love. Because there's no other reason why the buddies get together and why they do this work and why they are still committed to being a part of Safe Scrap. And so Planet Tomorrow now, not just in terms of, even if they're not able to actively do something, whenever there's an event, they are always supporting it through the social media channels. So 12.5 in 8.5, Safe Scrap sold to Planet Tomorrow. This is the stats. Our buddies 3 to 85, no gender bias, men have been there. We started in September 2015. The idea was to create awareness and give every scrap saved. So now, though I have Planet Tomorrow registered as an entity, but whatever we make from this is still going to go to the people who need it. And how do we decide who needs it? They should not have another one. So we have a policy of no hoarding. Neither we hoard nor they hoard. So when people say, okay, I'll keep this now and I'll find one special occasion, maybe their their club or some political thing, somebody's coming, or some national thing or anything, I'm like, please give it the minute it is because the person needs it now. Please don't wait. And so we have a policy of no hoarding. As Planet Tomorrow, what is my mission now? To reduce 1%. I told you 93 million and 130 million. So even if we can do 1% reduction in the landfill, the waste generated from fabric, and impact 1,000 companies by 2030. It's a very tough number, but we have started. Thank you again for Bhakti for that we've managed to, 2 entities, not just one, we've managed to start off with 2 entities today. What are we looking at? We're looking at buddies who are individuals, corporates, institutions, as in academic institutions, or any kind of institution, and we are looking slowly support from government as well for this. If nothing else, to create awareness for us. The adult buddies, this actually photograph belongs to Goods Group, and this is again a photograph of what they do. I told you just now from scrap, what we do is make only utility items, sheets, bags, and pillows. So there's no clothing. Our bags don't have any zip, they don't have any buttons, because I can buy 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000 zips, but there will never be a zero scrap bin. So we work with whatever we get. 2016 March, Teen Buddies started working with me, whereby they had Duke of Edinburgh, or they had a CAS program, or they had SUPW program, they had a community service, they wanted to build up their profile, and more than 100 buddies have gone through this whole thing, where I conduct 7 sessions for them. They come every week or whenever possible when we are having a session for 2 hours. They do the same task what we are going to be doing now, cut, sort, so they learn about the planet. One of the things which is important for them is to bring their parents to meet and share their journey of going through this process of saving the landfill, saving the fabric scrap. All of it is documented, and I have my students now, they've graduated and they've become big, but they always remember the impact which was created by the journey of being a teen buddy with me. The word buddy is very nice, and it was just something which I chanced upon, because we had older people, younger people, less skills, more skills, people who people think that they have more, they are more better, because that's the tangible last product which you see. And I'm like, no, the person who's sorting and cutting, and you'll just realize that now when we start doing, the person who's sorting and cutting, that is a very difficult task. Actually, without being very biased, sewing becomes much easier once everything else is done. So every person, every task is important. And that is the reason why everybody's a buddy. I also have people who are 85 years old, and that auntie, she would just stitch. And then we had these 3 years old who would just go in. Since we are all ladies here, except for Shamil, of course, who's my deputy manager, we are going to, I want to share a quick story about the 85-year-old lady who's my buddy's mother-in-law. And one day when I go to her house, she tells me, Shamil, you're doing a very good thing. She's a Tamil, and I would have said this in Tamil, but you're doing a very good thing. I said, what happened, mommy? We call mommy. Anybody who's elder, we call them mommy. I said, what happened, mommy? She's like, no, you keep all these ladies very busy. I'm very happy about that. I said, you're always thinking about some problem or the other or about their children. I said, okay, mommy, thank you, and I laughed and I kept quiet because the previous week, the daughter-in-law actually called me and said, I'm so glad you found something for my mother-in-law to do. And because she's so happy making these bags, and she used to make bags all the time. She's so happy making these bags, and she does it by herself. She doesn't want anyone interfering with her work. And the best part of all this is that nobody knows who's going to receive the end product. Just the task of doing that is what, and that's why I call it a labor of love. From our hands to our hearts, just for a smile, just a set of bags that were done, 100. We actually needed 250, so we got from some other people. He bought some, but these we did 100 bags in I think about 2 days' time. From all our group we collected, and this is the picture when they received these bags and some other content. This is the picture of the children. So now new buddies, Mishri, Manipal, Scraps to Smiles, thank you for your time and attention. And we are going to now, my mantra as always, this is by the way a picture of 2016 where there was South Africa, somebody was doing a marathon for an orphanage and he took sheets from us. The children are actually sitting on a Save Scrap and Sew sheet. So this has been our journey, Save Scrap Sew to Planet Tomorrow. New buddies here. I'm looking forward to talking more about this, getting involved, hands-on, right? And sharing this as a table topic wherever you are, just to tell people that we can do this. Last but not the least, I want you to save your scrap. When you get something done, alter, tailor, anything, bring your scrap back, use it as a duster, use it as 1,000 million ideas on YouTube, on Pinterest. Find something to do from that. Just bring your scrap back. So efficiency is more important than perfection, and you're just going to see how imperfect I am today when we start our task right now. So there are a couple of things which I'll just say. This is, you can just take a look at this, please pass it on as well. This is just a guideline for, yeah, just put it together. This is a guideline. We don't know what surprise is there for us in this scrap. We'll take one bag at a time. Let's not overwhelm ourselves. 2-3 people take one bag at a time. And what we'll do is, let me just finish saying how we want to go about it. So if you look at that sheet, can you just pass on the sheet to them, please? If you look at it, if you find a fabric cloth which is more than 20 inches, it's okay. I'll share. I'll finish telling you in case we'll share. If you find a fabric cloth which is more than 20 inches in any direction, please just let it be, just clean it up so it becomes into a rectangle, a square, whatever it is. That is the first thing. Anything which is less than 20 inches, we will make it 10 by 10. Anything which is less than 10, we make it 5 by 5. In between, you may find something which is 8 by 11, which you can cut into an 8 by 11. So you may have a piece where you can cut 8 by 11, there could be a 5 by 5 coming out from this side, and then the living. So we just, it's decision time. So don't think too much. Just take those decisions and just go on. So we will be cutting. We will first sort. Each person, you can make your own team, 2-3 people together. We will first sort. If you need ironing, somebody can help in the ironing part of it. Iron. After the sorting, iron it if you want. Then cut it. Okay. And then after that, we will start stitching. So we have 3 machines here. Anybody else who knows stitching? You do? Perfect. So you have another machine also, by the way, in case required. So I cannot promise you that you're going to get a full sheet or a full bag or anything today, but we'll start putting together those panels, which will later on become into these things. Alright? have here, I have scissors here, we have markers here, we have this board here in case you want to. Best way to do is if you cut a 5 by 5, then use that only as the next, for the next cutting that. If you cut a 10 by 10, use that as a, like a, for a, what do you say, like a, I'm missing the word, what is it? As a print to, kind of cut from that, yeah. Okay, we could do that. And so let us